Hello. I am coming in here because I felt super inspired to want to come in and just really share the purpose behind the Brave Bold You channel. So, for those who don't know, my name is Crystal. I had spent more than half of my life just hating myself, self-deprecating, really didn't like anything about my body. There was a time in my life where I was really just wanting to make huge changes and revamp and find myself. I'm just going to preface this with, you know, anything that gets to an extreme is not necessarily healthy. And so after I competed in both, I still found that I didn't feel like I liked myself any more than I thought I would. And that's when I realized, oh my gosh, it has nothing to do with the food, and it has nothing to do with the exercise or the body. It has everything to do with what's happening up here and what's happening down here. And I just started this whole journey of trying to find myself and this inner work and doing personal development. When I was doing those bodybuilding competitions, developed really disordered eating habits. And so, what I mean by that is I would binge. And if I thought I hated myself, well, let me just tell you, I hated myself even worse. And so, I had to do a whole healing around that. And so, this is how I fell into personal development. And I actually had a really big desire, and I felt like really called to wanting to start a YouTube channel because I wanted to just spread the word, right? To shout it from the rooftops that we don't hate ourselves. We aren't born hating ourselves. It's actually conditioned onto us. Our flaws are not really flaws, they're just who we are. And it gets marketed to us to make us think that there's something wrong with us. And so, the reason I wanted to start this YouTube channel and the reason it's called Brave Bold You is because I want us to understand that I know that I'm not the only one who has gone through things, even though in those moments I felt so alone. And let me know in the comments if you've ever felt like that, where you're going through something and you're like, I feel so alone and I can't even tell anybody what this is because they're going to judge me, or I don't feel safe enough to share that, or and so I wanted to really start using my voice and my platforms as a way to just let those know, people who are going through the same kinds of things, know that they're actually not alone. I don't know when it starts to really set in, the fact that we stop believing in ourselves and we start doubting our magic and we start doubting everything about us. I know for myself, I remember being in grade one and really just doubting, like being full of doubt about who I was as a person. And I think that's really where the whole not enoughness really like started to take over me. And that's just something that I carried forward throughout my whole life and up until like my mid 30s. I'm 46 now, but up until my mid 30s, like I spent more than half of my life hating myself, right? And thinking that I wasn't worthy enough. And the reason I share this is because I know I'm not alone. Reason I chose Brave Bold You is because we live in a world that's constantly telling us who we should be and who we're not, right? Um, Even if we think we know who we be, the world is going to always tell us who it thinks we need to be. And so you have to be brave, because you have to be brave and solid in who it is you already know you are. Like deep down, we know. Deep down, we freaking know. So you need to be brave, and then you need to be bold to really just stand in that, to take up this space to be you. And so one of my taglines since 2012 has always been take up space. Like, take up space, not just necessarily in your body, but in your life and in the things you want to do. And so I have been wanting to do this channel forever. Like, I'm ready to like show up and be brave and bold in myself and help other people remember who they be, because I'm remembering who I be, and together we light up the world, right? And so I'm really grateful because we've been at this now for a year. We feed off of each other, and it's a beautiful like synergy, because I really just want to introduce myself so that you know who I be, you feel my heart. And the reason why I'm here is because the main reason, and I didn't think I was going to get emotional. The main reason is because I know what it's like to feel alone in those dark moments. I really know what it's like to feel alone. And nobody should ever feel alone. And I know what it's like to feel like you're not enough. And I know what it's like to feel like maybe it's too late, right? Like I'm a Gen X woman. I'm 46 years old. Like if you would have told me that I would be starting a YouTube channel now, like 20 years ago, I would have laughed at you, right? But here I am, right? Here I be. And I'm here because I want to help inspire and empower and educate and like really just activate you. I want to just activate you to like just stepping up and taking up space and getting after the thing you want, because happiness is an inner job. And so just like I said at the beginning, like I found that I spent more than half of my life just really not loving myself and just letting, the lies about that fester and grow and then stopping myself from doing anything I wanted to do. Like I've always loved speaking, but I would never do it when I was younger. And I would always say, in my next life, as though that's something that's, gonna just naturally happen, right? Until like I said, in my mid 30s, I was like, that's it. I'm taking a stand and I'm actually gonna go all in, and I'm gonna do this work, and I'm gonna do this work with you, and we're gonna do it together. I'm doing this so that others can know, like, doesn't matter what kind of season of life you find yourself in. And trust me, I have been in many different seasons of life. Actually, this year, this year we got together, Mitch, Doris, and I, and my husband last fall. So we're gonna do this thing, and then we started planning and getting everything set up, and then I started recording the videos, and I already had a podcast by this time. By the way, you should know that I've had over 20,000 downloads, and I was like in one of the in the top rankings in Australia, Apple Podcasts, which is really cool, back in 2021. So I've been doing this for so long, audio, and as I said, I was doing video on Facebook and Instagram, and so I was ready. So we prepped all the content, and then we had my audio tracks from my podcast that we brought over here to the channel as well, just to like start setting things up. And then in January we went and made this public, like, this is what we're doing and come and check it out. So we launched this channel like at the beginning of January, and at the end of February 23rd, when I woke up that morning, I couldn't get out of bed because I was in severe pains in my body. I have a spine injury, and so I was literally like unable to move or do anything for several months. And so I was thankful I had pre-recorded a bunch of content, and I was thankful that I had all of the audio tracks from the Brave Bold You podcast that we were able to bring over to YouTube. And then I started re-recording videos back in like July, August. All that to say, I know what it's like to be stuck in certain seasons. And I have this saying that everybody has a chapter or two that they will never read out loud. And I know that I've had many chapters that I started to read out loud so that others who are in a similar chapter can feel seen and heard and feel safe. And also to know like you're not defined by these moments. I think that there's, like, I like to call it like character development. So you could take this as an opportunity of growth. And it helps to shape you into what comes next, because I don't like to use adversities and things like that as a way to keep me stuck. Trust me, my whole life I've been doing that, and I'm not doing that anymore. So I'm here to just let you know, like, you're not defined by your past, you're not defined by your current circumstances, and you can create anything you want. You have to be brave enough and bold enough to do it, right? And so that's why I wanted to come on here today, was just to give you a little bit of an overview as to who I am, why I'm here, what I've studied. I did so much studying on the somatics and trauma, neurolinguistic programming. Like, I'm constantly learning new ways on how to like just take up more space in the body and how to take up more space in life, right? To create your happy, because happiness is an inner game. It's not something that you're going to find externally. You won't. You can keep chasing something, but until you're actually solid and anchored into like, I am content, I feel fulfilled, right? The pursuit of happiness is forever fleeting versus the energy of feeling fulfilled, the energy of feeling content. And feeling fulfilled and content doesn't necessarily mean that everything is happy go lucky and everything's just so amazing in your life. It could just mean that you're able to keep the calm in the storm, right? You're able to regulate yourself. So I talk a lot about emotional intelligence. I talk a lot about how to start regulating your nervous system. I talk a lot about that stuff doesn't have to define you, like your story and what shaped you. It doesn't have to be the way, like, it doesn't have to weigh you down, right? You could take it and use it as a positive, right? And I am also not talking about toxic positivity for those who are going to think that that's what this is. No, I need you to understand that I am a big believer in we have two sides. We have all the light, but we also have all the dark. There is a contrast in life, right? And if you choose to just look at the good stuff, but not really work through the negative stuff, the quote unquote bad stuff, right? Because we like to label things binary as like good and bad, then you end up living like very mediocre like this. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but if this is something that you're like, ugh, I think that there's more, then you have to be able to touch the highs with not attaching to them and work through the lows without judging yourself, right? And that creates a different life. That creates more expansion. And that's just the contrast, literally, of life and being a human. We're living a human mess. We're spiritual beings who came here to live the human experience. That's what I fully believe. And so I trust that everything that's brought me here to this very moment is stuff that I've walked through. Not that I necessarily caused. I don't believe in that, by the way. Like, you didn't cause your trauma. However, you're responsible for what comes next. And so, character developing moments, like, how am I going to tell this story in 5 years from now, right? I'm going to tell it from a place of like, I overcame this, or am I going to tell it from a place like it overtook me, right? And so my name's Crystal. I'm happy you're here. Thank you to all the subscribers. I'm feeling really inspired to want to come in and share a little bit more about my story. Let me know in the comments what you'd love to hear, but I'm willing to share anything that I think could be beneficial to you, because literally in a world where everything is so fast paced, like, I don't want to waste your time. I just really want to help in any way, help you feel seen, help you feel heard. This is a safe space. Welcome to this part of the internet. Welcome to this part of the universe. And that's what I got. So once again, like, I really want to thank my business partners, my YouTube business partners, Doris and Mitch. Like, I'm so grateful for you guys. You'll never know how much. And hopefully this will inspire you to want to take up space in your life and go do that thing that's been on your heart for so long, you know, even if it doesn't intellectually make sense. If it's been in your heart forever and it doesn't always make sense, that's because your mind is trying to control it. That's because you're trying to control the outcome. But as long as it doesn't hurt anybody, yourself included, but it's something that brings you joy, like, the world needs more magic. The world needs more love. And all things from a place of love are good things. So that's what I got. Chat later. Bye.